The English language is spoken around the world. You can hear English in Egypt.
Here is the finest brassware in all Cairo.
In Switzerland.
Yes, monsieur. Our watches are all guaranteed.
In India.
Our straw hats are very good. Everyone likes them.
Even in China.
We can make a very fine suit for you in very short time.
Yes, English is spoken the world over. Over 250 million people living in the countries colored in yellow on this map speak English as their native language. Another 600 million, about 1/4 of the world's people, understand a little English or speak it as a second language. Today, 3/4 of the world's mail and half the world's newspapers are written in English. This language map shows the areas where the 4 most widely used languages are spoken in Europe, Africa, Asia, and Australasia. They are Chinese, English, then the Hindustani of India, and Russian. England, one of the nations in the British Isles where our language originated, is small compared to Russia, India, and China. Let's see how a language from one rather small island spread throughout the world. Around the year 1500, British ships were sailing far from the English coast. England itself was small. Opportunities there were few, and life was hard. Men with ambition, like Sir Francis Drake, took to the sea as traders and explorers. When Columbus' voyages opened up the route to a new world, the English were soon ready to travel and settle there. It was then England's geography that provides one of the reasons English traveled around the globe. During the 1600s, the English people who settled in the American colonies prospered. The numbers of English-speaking people in the New World grew, and there was much rich open land for newcomers. England's history and the nation's successful wars against other countries also helped the English language to spread. Here is a scene from the Battle of Quebec in 1759, in which the British forces defeated the French. After this battle, the British were able to take Canada from the French. As a result, today, English has replaced the French language in all but a few parts of Canada. The seagoing British began to explore, trade, and settle more and more widely during the 200 years between 1700 and 1900. Here we see an English sea captain trading on the docks of Calcutta in India about 150 years ago. Many people, like the Indian gentleman you are about to hear, learned some English when they traded with or bought goods from the British.
My lord, the Maharaja, will buy 500 yards of the heavy blue cloth, Sahib.
At the same time, Americans too began to spread the English language across the seas. Not long after the British colonies became the United States, merchant vessels like this American clipper ship began to travel to such distant places as China, Japan, and India. They carried our language along with the goods that were made in the United States. During the years that Victoria was Queen of England from 1837 to 1901, Britain became a global empire. During this period, Englishmen said, the sun never sets on the British Empire. In the lands they ruled or influenced, the English taught their language in the schools. English was the language of the empire's government and commerce. When the empire ended, the language remained. Since the 19th century, international trade has been one of the most important reasons for the spread of the English language. For many decades, British and American-made goods have been exported to all parts of the earth. The English names for products often remain about the same in countries that buy them. The English name telephone, for instance, is telefono in Spanish and telufeng in Chinese. The motion picture has been another important means of carrying English to many parts of the world. For nearly 50 years, people in lands overseas have seen films made in the United States, and there have been talking pictures in English since 1930, when sound was added to the silent motion pictures. In some parts of the world, you can find American films with subtitles printed in 2 or even 3 languages. Of course, hearing English in movies helps people in Africa, Asia, or Latin America to learn some English. In the film on this screen, for instance, as the hero says, "hello," an audience in the Middle East can read the subtitles, "Salam alaikum" and "bonjour," which mean the same thing in Arabic and French. After 1950, television began to carry English throughout the world. Reruns of American TV programs in English could be seen and heard from Thailand to Egypt and from France to Argentina. Before television was commonly used, radio broadcast aided the spread of English. Some even presented English lessons. Soldiers in World War I and World War II personally took our language to many countries overseas. Likewise, since about 1950, millions of United States businessmen and government workers have traveled to every continent of the globe. Tourism has also taken the English language abroad. Listen to this taxi driver in Greece.
Taxi, sir? Can I drive you to the interesting places in Athens?
Natives of many countries, like the taxi driver, want to learn English so as to get more business from English and American visitors. Clerks, taxi drivers, guides, stenographers, salesmen, and teachers can speak English in Tokyo, Delhi, Cairo, Athens, Rio de Janeiro, and many other cities of distant countries. We have seen that geography, history, international trade, motion pictures, radio, television, English-speaking soldiers and government workers and tourists all have carried the English language to other countries. But another factor helped spread the English language: the very nature of the language itself. These words are part of a basic English vocabulary. With only 800 or 900 words like these, anyone can carry on a conversation in basic English. Thus, unlike many other languages, simple English is fairly easy to learn. If a native of India wanted to talk to all other Indians, he would need to know as many as 170 different languages, not to mention 700 dialects. The languages of other countries like Nigeria and Pakistan have the same kind of problem. But English often provides a solution. Here is a gentleman from Pakistan speaking to an acquaintance.
I do not speak the language in your part of Pakistan, and you do not speak mine. So let's speak in English.
If people in countries with many languages know their own regional dialect and also learn English, then no one needs to learn more than one additional language: English. Other languages have borrowed words like this from the English language. These borrowed words are called loan words, since we have loaned them to other languages. Notice how the words are spelled in another language, and hear how they are pronounced. In Spanish, we have
Baseball.
in Italian, we have
Col crème.
in French,
Bulldog.
Nigerian,
Sucurudriba.
German.
Comic book.
Sometimes the tables are turned, and we get words from other languages. These are 7 loan words we have taken from 7 different languages. sauerkraut from German, chauffeur from French, minaret from Arabic, cavalry from Italian, paper from Greek, ski from Norwegian, and tea from Chinese. A few years ago, a French shopkeeper in Paris with a sense of humor put this sign in his window: English spoken here and American understood. The shopkeeper's humor emphasized the fact that English has not only spread around the world, but it has changed as it spread. As the sign tells us, British English and American English are different. Often, British and American words are different in their spelling, pronunciation, and sometimes in their meaning. Let's learn more about how the sound of English changes in different parts of the world. Can you see here 3 words that we would spell differently in American English? They are tire, check, and jail. We spell tire, T-I-R-E, and check, C-H-E-C-K, and jail, J-A-I-L. In Great Britain, you will find familiar things called by unfamiliar names. Gasoline is called petrol. A baby buggy is a pram. A radio is called a wireless. Trucks are lorries. A streetcar is a tram. And French fried potatoes are called chips. Even among people living in the British Isles, you will hear differences in the sound of language. Here is an elderly Irishman talking to a young Scotsman. He says, "Sure now, and how many wee ones be there in your family?" The Scotsman answers, "My sister has a wee bairn, and my own bairn is a braw lad of 12. In the south of Africa, where English is spoken by a number of persons who originally came from Europe, Dutch and native African words have come into the language. Some of them look and sound strange to us. This African boy is saying,
"My father's house is a far trek across the veld. Stands among the kloofs on a high crowns."
The boy was saying that his father's house is a far journey across the prairie and it stands among the hills on a high bluff. We have seen how English has traveled overseas and spread around the world, and how it has changed in the process. Oddly enough, after coming to our shores, English changed as it spread across our own country. This map is called an isogloss. With different colors, it shows major differences in the English language within the United States. We call these differences dialects. There are 3 major dialect areas: the northern area, the central area, and the southern area. The arrows show the directions the major dialects traveled across the country. Let us listen to just a few examples of these different dialects. A man in New England in the northern dialect area might pronounce the letter O in the words horse and morning like the AU in taught. So he might say,
"This morning I'm going to ride my horse down the harbor road to the park."
People who live in the central part of the United States tend to emphasize the letter R and sometimes insert an extra R in a word. This woman on a farm in Nebraska might say,
"I've got my wash out."
People who live in the southern areas of the country soften the letter R so that it almost disappears, except before vowels. For instance, this Texan might say,
"Draw yourself up a chair and make yourself comfortable."
Besides the major southern, northern, and central dialects, there are many minor and special dialects within some areas of the country. This woman is from a section called the Outer Banks, an area along the shore of North Carolina. Some people say many of the people of this area pronounce English as it was pronounced in Shakespeare's day. While this is only folklore, the speech of the people of the Outer Banks does sound different. Listen to this 83-year-old woman as she recalls seeing the first airplane flight of Wilbur and Orville Wright in the early 1900s.
Well, I don't know, but I thought there was a buzzard in the air. I was standing on our porch when they riz off of the hill and went away. The first time it flew, it fell, and the next time it flew, it went on. It flew off the top of Kill Devil Hill.
But no matter where English-speaking people come from, they often speak differently on different occasions. In a formal situation, for instance, a man would probably use formal language. As a fan in a ballpark, he would probably use colloquial terms. In a business situation, he might use a technical form of speech. This is the way the same man might speak in each of these three situations. At a formal party, he might say, "Before we leave the party, I'd like you to meet my very good friends, Mr. and Mrs. G.I. Brown." But at a baseball game, the same man might say,
"All right, Smitty, come on, let's take a good sock at that old apple in there, Smitty."
In his laboratory, he might say to his assistant, "Mr. Jones, would you bring me the assembly that is complete with the glass tubing and beaker?" Now we have seen how and why the English language traveled overseas and around the world, how it came to our shores and across our land. Perhaps in years to come, one of the great values of English will be its service as a common second language which will lessen misunderstandings when people meet. We hope so.